Hello, David here, and welcome to this tutorial, where we will learn how to utilize the reserve product statement in process modeling in Visual Components. When following any tutorial, check the lesson on the Visual Components Academy, and if the Download Files option appears, you can download the example files. In the completed layout, we will use the reserve product statement so that we can have different processes running from the same machine. From the Home tab, let's start by adding the components we need from the eCatalog and place them into the 3D world. Under Models by Manufacturer and Visual Components, we will find all the components we need for this layout. Feel free to pause the video and locate these components and place them into the 3D world. With our components added, to make the feeder and sink process components easier to see, select them and from their properties, set the icon width to 1000. We put the lathe here and the gantry machine over here, so our layout will look something like this. The cube and cylinder will be just template components for the feeder process to generate, so we placed them over here on the left. Then the feeder and sink process are placed at either ends of our process like this. Now let's define the products. In the Process tab, click on Products to enable the product type editor. We are going to need two products in separate flow groups. When we added the feeder process to the layout, a default flow group and product were created. Let's use this flow group and replace the product type with the cube and edit the name. Then click the green plus icon to create another flow group, add a product type to that group, and select the cylinder. The cylinder component is small, so to make it more visible during simulation, let's increase its size. Click on the plus to display the cylinder product properties. And right-clicking on Component Properties, select Add Component Property and then All Template Properties. And set the radius and height to 200. And then click Close in the lower right corner. Then select the feeder process and from its properties in the Product Creator tab, change the feed mode to batch, so it will create both cylinders and cubes in a fixed amount and interval. Under Product, add the cube. And for example, set the count to 2 and the interval can be 5. And do the same for the cylinder, setting the count to 3 and the interval can also be 5. Then to define the processes, click to enable processes. Click on the label of the gantry machine to open its process executor. We are going to use the same machine, but with two different processes. So click the green plus icon to create a new routine. Note how when we added another routine, another label was also added to the component in the 3D world. Then selecting the first routine, select a statement and use Ctrl-A to select all statements and Ctrl-C to copy, and selecting the new routine in the lower process definition section, use Ctrl-V to paste the copied statements. We can also copy and paste items by right-clicking and using the menu. At this point, we could also modify some values or add some statements to this process. Then selecting the first process routine, from the statement gallery, add the reserve product statement, which is added to the requirements section in the process executor. Selecting the statement, from its properties, add a product type filter. And from accepted product types, select the cube. We will use the default product variable name product in, so copy it and selecting the transport in statement, paste it into the reserved product variable name field. Then selecting the reserved product statement, copy and paste it into the requirements section of the second process routine. And in the product type filter, for the accepted product types, remove the cube and add the cylinder. And again, selecting the product variable name product in, copy it, and selecting the transport in statement, paste it into the reserved product variable name field. Then selecting the gantry machine in the 3D world, using the clone option, create a copy and move it into position, for example over here. And from this machine, select the label of the second process routine to open the process executor panel. And from its properties, rename this routine as process 2, so it can be a separate process. We can now set up the process flow. And to manage our available screen space, we could now close the process executor panels. Selecting flow from the ribbon above, select flow group 1 from the process flow editor below. In the 3D world, click on the label of the feeder process. Then select the label of the lathe, then move to select the label of the first gantry machine. And we need to choose the correct label so the correct process is added to the flow. And notice how both machine processes are added to the flow with transport links. And we then click on the sync process label. Then selecting flow group 2, click on the label of the feeder process. Then select the label of the lathe. Then adding the first gantry machine, we select the label for process 1. And then for the second gantry machine, we select the label for process 2. And finally, we click on the sync process label. Now we are ready to click play to run our simulation and check that everything is working as it should. We can click to view the output panel, which will list any potential errors, and we can increase the speed of the simulation. We still have the flow enabled, so returning to the process flow editor, selecting flow group 1, we can see that the cube will go to the first or second gantry machine and then to the sink. And selecting flow group 2, the cylinder has to go to the first gantry machine, then to the second, and then to the sink. And this is how the reserve product statement works. And this concludes the lesson. Thank you for watching.